But look at this, way out in the middle of nowhere. And there is this shelter. Hey, this is Brian from Northwest Bronco. Thanks for joining me on this trip. Today we're going to be going out to the Central Oregon area, more specifically the Frederick Butte Road area, and there's about 2 or 3 kind of historical things that I found on the maps that I want to take a look at. Hopefully the roads are passable, but we are going to have to find out. Our turn right here. So over the winter, I usually comb through this area pretty well on Google Images or Google Maps, and also on Gaia to try to find things that look interesting. And our first point of interest is going to be coming up here on the right. So we're going to have a look and see what we can find. Looks like a little old homestead out here, or a little cow camp. All right, let's hop out, start heading that way and have a look and see what we got. Now, I think this is on private property, so I'm not going to go on the property, but we are going to stand along the fence line here and see what we can get. We made her down here to the fence line, so let's just have a look and see what we got. There's a good look at the front of it. It looks like there's been some more modern things done to it, like the tin roof, some kind of a plastic pipe coming out on the left side. But and of course some of the furniture out front, which is not that old. So there's the house over there, and if we swing around, you can see over here, this is the corrals, and it's a pretty good size corral area. It does have a pump house, so this looks like at one time this might have been a big cattle operation. That's kind of creepy. A tank that says I'm peaking spray painted on it. All right, let's make our way to the cattle chute area. You know, I'm looking at it, and it looks like this is still being used. It is on private property, and some of the stuff that's been done to it looks like it's more modern. So I think this is still in use. It's really cool to think that people used this at one time, and who knows, they may still use it to this day. But whether or not it's a homestead or a cow camp, if you know anything about this place, put it in the comments below, because I certainly would like to learn more about it. But it looks like it's probably still in use. I think our next point of interest I have marked is coming up here pretty quick. We're going to make a left-hand turn up here, and then it should be up on our right, I believe. But we're just going to kind of keep our peepers open in the meantime to see if we can find anything along the way. What the heck is that? All right, I'm going to steal a pro tip from Coyote Works, who always has a pair of binoculars with him, and this is why. There's some kind of a shelter built over here by these trees, so I'm just going to kind of take a look before I go over there and see if anyone's there. Doesn't look like it. Looks like an A-frame shelter. Let's go have a look. Oh, that is just weird. All right, this is one of those times when you're glad you're armed when you're way out here and you find shelters and things like that. This is why I always have a firearm. All right, let's go have a look at this thing. It looks old. Here, that or the materials it's made out of is really old. But we're just going to take a closer look and see what we got. Interesting. It's just kind of out here by itself underneath this juniper tree. There's no debris. It doesn't look like anyone's been in it recently. Looks Looks like it's made out of some old materials. Yeah, that's just bizarre. And the stuff you find out here is pretty incredible. Well, let's go ahead and look around this thing and see what else we can find around here. There's a lot of metal and a lot of trash on the ground, but let's see what else there might be. But look at this, way out in the middle of nowhere. And there is this shelter. Well, you know what the most interesting thing I found about this spot is that I don't see any signs of a fire. I don't see a fire ring or any charring or anything like that besides some of the junipers, but there's no fire ring. So whoever built this, yeah, it doesn't look like they had a fire. Let me know if you guys saw a fire pit somewhere. I didn't see one, but I think that's really weird. All right, we'll head on back to the Bronco and find our next thing. All right, according to GPS, we're going to be taking a left here, and there should be two things I marked on the map as points of interest. All right, the next thing I wanted to take a look at on the map was this rock wall right here, and you can see it just kind of jets out towards those trees. You know, it's nothing too crazy, but I wanted to take a look since I was going to be driving by it anyway, but it is interesting. You know, for those of you who haven't gotten your Bronco yet or are thinking about picking one up, I highly recommend them. They have lots of room. They're nice and they drive really well on the road, and they trail drive like an absolute animal. They are absolutely just nimble and smooth and not bumpy. And yeah, great rig. Certainly am glad I got it. I highly recommend one of these. Okay, I came to our next turn, and it's this road that looks like hardly anyone's been on, but right down that road, supposedly there's a well back there I want to take a look at, and maybe even a homestead that's broken down. But the road looks really bad, so we're gonna see if we can do it and go from there. All right, this is another spot I had marked. Supposedly there's a homestead here and also a well somewhere back in there. Now I marked on the GPS about where I think it is, but we're definitely in the right spot because you can see there's a rock wall right here. All right, we're in luck. I think I found that well. So there's where the Bronco's parked, and the rock wall comes around, and as it was coming around, I saw something right there. And I think that might be our spot, so let's go have a look at it. Right next to that pile is the well. There she is. And it's a big one too. Holy moly. Big old well right out here in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Man, look at the construction on that. Somebody hand dug this thing. They hand dug it, lined up all these rocks. I mean, that's way down there. Pretty impressive thing. And this is just wide open out here. I'd love to get down there and look at some of these cans that are down there. Well, besides the Bud Light can. But right around it's a whole bunch of old cans. So I would love to go down there, but we're not going to. All right. Well, this will give you some perspective on how big this thing actually is. I mean, that thing is just massive. But you know, I've been walking around trying to find stuff, and I don't see a whole lot of debris, and I also don't really see an obvious place for a homestead. Now I see the rock wall over there, but it's too big to be a homestead. I'm thinking that's just the corral or the area they cleared out for animals, or something like that. But I'm trying to find a place where they might have put a structure. All right, you can kind of see what I mean. There's a Bronco right there. The well is right there. And then there's the rock wall here. Goes right along the road and in front of the Bronco, and then it cuts back. But you can see this is way bigger than a homestead. So anyway, I'm gonna look around a little bit more. I can't stay too much longer because it's gonna get dark here eventually. But I'm really happy I got to find this. I just wish I could have found the house. I see lots of cans, debris on the ground, but I'm not seeing anything really obvious where a house would have been. So if you've been to the site before, you know where the house is, put it in the comments below because I can't find it. All right, I spoke a little bit too soon. As I was walking back to the Bronco, I took a look to my right and I started seeing some glass and cans and some things sparkling in the bushes. So let's have a look and see what we can find here. All right, let's see what we have found. This way I saw it kind of glistening, and there's a bunch of glass underneath this really big juniper tree. You can see it right here. I heard something growling earlier, but it's all got this purple glass right here. Big chunk of blue. It's all underneath this tree here. So let's see what else we can find. All right, let's see what we have. I already kicked one of these over, but it looks like lids to jars. And then get the sun out of the way. It looks like another can. Some kind of a band for a barrel of some kind. Another one of those, possibly a sardine can. There's more over here. So there is debris all over right here. All right, so in all the excitement back there, I forgot to eat lunch. So I'm gonna go ahead and whip up some Black Rifle instant coffee. It's good stuff. I just stick it in a bottle here and then shake it up. And then for lunch, I had a granola bar and one of these squeezies I stole from one of my kids before I left. So that's lunch, but we need to get on the road because I need to get all the way around the rest of Redrick Butte. And then I gotta head down Highway 20 to Glass Butte because I'm gonna stay at Napper Camp, hopefully. That's the plan, at least. All right, I was just driving along, I saw something on the side of the road right there. So we're gonna walk over here and take a look and see what this is. Bunch of boards everywhere. This is an old homestead site. Here's the structure where it was. Looks like the root cellar. Yep, that's exactly what that is, I believe. All right, we made her. So we're over here by Glass Butte now, and that was a little bit more of a commute than I thought it was going to be to get over here, but we're here. So I've never been to this Napper camp area. It's not really a campground. It's just supposedly where all the Nappers go to camp, and I wanted to check it out for a while because I might bring my son out here because he doesn't like camping outside of campgrounds. He likes to be kind of around people. So I'm going to check this out, see if it's somewhere I want to bring him. But we're going to head on down this road and see what we find. Oh God. All right, well this is going to be home for the night. So I drove through the Napper camp, and to give you some idea on what my thoughts were of it. When you first roll in, you kind of go down where the camp is. There's 2 or 3 years an RV there, maybe another minivan, people camping. But it seems to me like there's just a lot of garbage in the fire pits and everything there. It's like, dude, you guys take your garbage with you. Don't leave your garbage in there in the fire pits. But if you keep going through the camp, and then if you go up and past it and to the left, that's where I ended up. And there's like 5, 6, 7, 8 spots that are kind of a lot of spots right off the side of the road. I found this one, which I like because it's nice and open, and it's dead quiet out here. So there's no one around. It's nice and quiet. But I'd recommend going through the camp and then kind of following the road to the left, and you'll find 3 or 4 good spots up here. But the view is pretty unbelievable. So I'm going to go ahead and get camp set up. We're going to try out a new piece of gear. I have a fire pit I'm going to use, and do a little cooking and pop up the tent and get ready for the evening. Okay, so we got the fire going. I think what we're going to do for dinner tonight is we're going to have a mountain house. We're going to do the home style chicken noodle casserole. It's a really good one. And then I'm also going to cook with the pyre irons. And what we're going to do is we have a couple pieces of bread here, a couple pieces of provolone, a little bit of sauerkraut, and some Johnsonville beef brats. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the sauerkraut, cheese, and brats in between the pieces of bread, put them in the pyre iron, and make like a kind of like a pyre iron sandwich. You know what else we're going to do? We're going to cook a few more of those brats. This is the hot dog pyre iron. These just drop right in like this. So close those up, drop those on the fire. All right, let's cut this guy open and see how she looks. That is a pyre iron sauerkraut and sausage sandwich. All right, let's get the mountain house going here. Let's get it on the plate. Go. Once again, that is home-style chicken noodle casserole. And there we go. Dinner is served. You know, there is one thing I like about this fire pit, is that the fire pit in this spot is way over there, but the only level spot I could find for the Bronco was right there. So if I didn't have this fire pit, I would have had to walk all the way over there to do anything with the fire. This way I can put the fire anywhere I want in the campground, and the heat is right up on me, which is kind of nice. I can even feel below the screen, so you can tuck your toes underneath there, and I can get a lot more heat coming at me than I normally would with a campfire. So I'm going to say this thing here is this thing's a winner, and I'm going to go ahead and eat my dinner and then catch back up with you. I wanted to talk a little bit about these new Toyo Open Country RT trail tires. I get a lot of questions about them. I posted a video a couple months back when I first got them saying this might be the best new Overland tire, and so far, you know, they did really well on the road. You know, I aired them down, you know, I think I aired them down to about 30 pounds to 28 pounds, 30 pounds, and did all that trail driving today with it. No problems at all. And also they did really well in the mud. I come across those mud holes, it would just tear right through them, even though they're a hybrid tire. So once again, in case you didn't know, they are a D-rated tire, which is good because I'm carrying a bunch of extra weight on the rig, and also they have a really nice thick sidewall, which is nice. But anyway, I thought I'd give you a little update on that, and yeah. All right, I think it's time for us to head off to bed. All right, for any of you wondering how much room there is in one of these solo tents, I'm 6'4", 220, and I fit in this thing just fine. And the Wiki sleeping bag I use is 0 degree Arctic bag, and that thing is super warm, and it's the entire perimeter of this tent. So when I lay in this thing, my feet don't even touch the end, and my head is in the little hoodie thing. And it also comes with a pair of these little booties here, and these are sleeping booties. So you take your shoes off and you slip these on. It keeps your feet nice and warm, so you don't have to shove like little foot warmers on the bottom of your sleeping bag. So I just use one of those. And when it comes to how much can you fit here along with me, you know, it's got side pockets for my shoes inside instead of outside. The sleeping bag, I got a 4-inch mattress in here that I blow up with the onboard compressor on the Bronco. I keep a golf shoe bag here, and in here I have an empty water bottle to pee in. I also have a stocking hat there, a neck warmer, some hand and foot warmers just in case, and my revolver. And then I just keep the shotgun along the side here. And then I also have the a Dometic power supply here with electric blanket that I slide inside the sleeping bag. So I'm pretty darn comfortable up here. And really, when you're in one of these tents, when you shut the light off, you don't really realize how small it is. And it's not really that small, but also you're not really any wider than the inside of your sleeping bag, so it doesn't really matter unless, you know, if you're by yourself. I toss and turn all night, and I don't ever touch any of the stuff on the edges. So if you're ever wondering how much room there's in one of these, I highly recommend them. I finally found a way to put a ladder up to it, because when you keep this tent on the center of your vehicle on the roof, the ladder doesn't latch. So, but if you put it off to the side like you're supposed to, it'll latch. But I just set the ladder against the side of the vehicle and put a strap on it so it holds, and I get up here just fine. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and climb in the sleeping bag and go to bed, and I'll see you in the morning. All right, good morning, everybody. I slept like an absolute rock. I went to bed around 9:30 last night, and I slept all the way until 8. And it's just dead quiet out here. Just dead quiet. I mean, I slept like a rock. And the secret is, well, one of the things you could do is before you go to bed, just pop a melatonin. And that'll help you to kind of get you through the night. But yeah, it is beautiful, sunny. Let's have some breakfast and go from there. Oh man, you know, so I was editing a bunch of that footage last night. Or not editing, but just taking a look at it and deleting what I didn't want. And I gotta tell you, it's a lot harder than it looks to do this. I mean, if you're thinking, you know, that it's easy to just go out all day and set up cameras, and you know, it's really hard. I mean, I went to bed at 9:30, slept till 8, and I was exhausted. But you know, I was looking at the video and I thought to myself, you know, this looks an awful lot like Coyote Works channel. Well, if you're ever wondering why the format's kind of the same, it's because it's not really all I know how to do. Is I watch a bunch of guys, but I like his work the best, and there's really no other way to do it. So if it looked kind of similar, you know, I'm not trying to copy him. It's just that he was kind of my inspiration to get out and start doing this, and get out and, you know, go out and see the desert. And so far, this is my favorite place in Oregon. So it's going to look a little bit like his. Of course, I'll never be as good as Coyote Work is, or as knowledgeable, but I'm certainly going to give it a go. And you know, I think he was right. You really need to get out and check this area out. Yeah, I'm hungry. So in case some of you guys were wondering how much water you save by using these bags, I have about a half a bag left in here. That's 10 liters, so I have about 5 liters left in here. And I have one more bag in the Bronco. But because just that little spout of water comes out, it's just enough to wash your hair, wash your face, clean up after dinner. It's just enough. So unlike the you know, Roto Packs or any of those water jugs where it's just dumping every time you turn it over, this is just nice and controlled. So highly recommend these. Oh, and by the way, you got to put a strap on them. They don't come with a strap to hang from the roof rack. But it's just a little strap you put on there. But yeah, this is the way to go. All right, let's see how our fire pit did. So in total, last night I burned through one package of wood, and that was it. And that lasted about two and a half hours. So I get one package of wood, I throw it in the car, lasts about 2.5 hours. This burns really good, nice and clean. The fire lit really easily because you have all this air coming up from the bottom. It's just, you don't have an air problem at all. But yeah, it burned really well. So just a couple little chunks here left. But yeah, I like it. All right, this morning we're boiling water for two things. One is I got some of this Black Rifle coffee, instant coffee. That, and second is a Mountain House breakfast. So that is going to be the breakfast this morning. And then once we get done eating, because we already washed up and we already packed away the stuff last night before we went to bed. So I just have to put away the tent and that's it. So, all right. All right, what we have here is in the water bottle, we have one liquid IV, which I drink one of these almost every morning, especially when we're out here in the desert. And also one instant coffee from Black Rifle. It's either this or Starbucks. It's kind of just whatever at the time, but I like Black Rifle because it kind of a veteran owned company, which is nice. And I'd rather support that. And of course our mountain house. So we already boiled our water, so we're just going to dump her in there. Fill this up for the trip home. And the rest of it, we're going to dump in our biscuits and gravy, and breakfast is served. You know, it's 8:30 in the morning. It's already getting hot out here. All right, so here's the game plan. What we're going to do is I'm just going to eat my breakfast, drink some coffee, finish putting everything away, and then I'll catch up with you guys again as soon as we get on the trail. You know, it was a pretty long winter, and I think over the winter my wife shrunk all my shirts because this isn't normal. So yeah, I'm gonna have to tell her to go ahead and find a way to make these a little bigger. For the way home, I drain everything heavy, so I get rid of all my water and I dump what's left of my fuel, which is 5 gallons, into the tank. That'll give me another quarter tank of fuel, which I'm down a little under a quarter tank, but I'll usually leave a gallon in here just because in case I find someone on the way home that needs help. So I'll leave a gallon in here, but I'll dump what's left in there because I don't want that weight on my tailgate, and I want to get all the weight off the vehicle for the trip home. Yeah, she definitely shrunk my clothes. There's no doubt. All right, we're going to go ahead and air up these bad boys for the trip home. In case you're all wondering how the Bronco did, it ate everything up in the desert like it was nothing. So anyway, once again, thank you for everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next time.